What's up, everybody? This is the PlayStation Lifestyle Underground podcast. We are an unofficial podcast of PlayStationLifestyle.net. I am Hugo Stiglitz. You can find me on PSN as Hugo Stiglitz underscore 420. And I got two other guys with me today. You want to say hello?
Yeah, I'm Steve Bitto. I'm the community manager for PlayStation Lifestyle. My PlayStation Network tag is Tyler X Durden, and you can find me on the forums as Steve Bitto.
And I'm Brian Mashala. That's how you can find me on the forums and in the comments. And on PSN, I'm Cloud Strife 768.
Awesome. And so we're at a bit of a slow news week as far as gaming goes. Not much going on in the industry at all. So we're still going to keep going on with the... I'm just kidding. E3 this week. So it's... I don't know if any of you guys have had time to play games, between all the crazy conferences and all that and, your usual lives. But I have. I mean, I've been playing Arkham City quite a bit. I'm trying to finish it up before Arkham Knight comes out. The usual Project Cars. Played a little iRacing over the weekend, and not much else other than that. Haven't been playing a ton of games between work and E3. What about you guys?
Yeah, it's been extremely busy at PlayStation Lifestyle this week, so I've been doing a lot of work. But in between the Ubisoft and Sony conferences, I was able to beat Dishonored this week.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, so that announcement was cool to get right as I finished it.
Yeah, for sure. What about you, Brian?
And my wife recently got Elder Scrolls Online digitally, so I've been rocking that out with her. It's quite a bit of fun, and on top of that, in preparation for Final Fantasy XIV's expansion tomorrow, I was trying to get out or accomplish as much as I could in that game. So, 2 console MMOs.
Cool, and actually, that does remind me, I did actually play a little bit of PlanetSide 2 as well. Thanks for the code, Steven.
Yep.
But yeah, E3. So there's a lot of huge announcements this week. I guess we'll start with the first conference, which was Bethesda. And personally, I loved their conference. I thought it was the second best next to Sony's. And, I mean, they started out with a bang, quite literally, which was Doom. And I've been a fan of Doom since I was a little kid. I used to play it all the time on my old school Packard Bell PC with Windows, I think it was 3.1. It wasn't even 95 yet, Windows 95. And so that was really cool to see, and I was glad that it seemed like it was a little less Doom 3 and a little more original Doom, but a lot more modern. And also the other stuff with like the multiplayer and the whole map creator stuff just seemed amazing. I don't know, are you guys into Doom at all? Like, are you into that sort of stuff?
Not particularly, but I mean, I'll probably check this one out. It looks like a lot of fun from what I saw from the conference.
Yeah, it looks like an amazing game, and that's definitely like one of my most anticipated games coming up next year. And then also they talked about Dishonored 2, which seems really cool. I haven't had a chance to play Dishonored 1 yet, but I do like that they're doing a Dishonored Definitive Edition. I mean, depending on the price, because I might actually try it because I never played the first one, and I would like to try it at some point maybe, and that's definitely cool that they did that, so that I'm not...
Yeah, as someone that just finished it, it's only about 12 hours, so it's not like a huge time sink. So it's definitely worth checking out. That's why I played it. I figured that announcement was coming up, so I might as well dive in for a little bit, and I wrapped it up in about a week and a half.
Yeah, I mean, I do like my stealth games, and I tried it before, didn't really like it, but at the time I wasn't into stealth games like I am now. Like, a couple games like really made me realize that I like stealth a lot. It was, like Last of Us, what's it called? Last of Us, Metal Gear Solid, obviously, and there's one other game that's like hardcore stealth. I'm trying to think of... Damn it. Oh, Styx.
Brian, did,
Master of Shadows. That's the one. And then
Hey Brian, did anything in the conference stand out to you?
I liked what I saw of Doom. I'm not the biggest first-person shooter fan. I'll probably play it at some point for the campaign and just to experience it and check it out. It looked like just wild cookie fun, which I kind of have always assumed that's what the heart of Doom is in the 1st place. So that looks cool. Dishonored, I haven't gotten into myself yet. It's just one of those games that got glossed over because some other game or 10 were out at the time. Who knows?
Yeah.
But yeah, my very clear standout was, of course, Fallout 4, and I've been really hesitant about Fallout 4. I kind of have a bitter taste in my mouth after Skyrim for PS3, but oh man, what I saw looks just phenomenal. So I'm willing to give them one more shot and just ignore all the previous stuff and take Fallout 4 for a go, because it looks amazing. Just the amount of customization and man, what didn't they show that was just amazing?
Yeah, it looks like they're really stepping it up this time. I mean, it looks like they're gunning for like Game of the Year or something this time, because it's pretty crazy, all the stuff that they added as far as customization and like the fact that you can like build your own buildings and hideouts and stuff. Like, I've seen some other games where you can do that sort of thing, but I never would have expected it for Fallout. Like, I think it's actually pretty cool. And I've always been kind of afraid of Fallout because it's one of those games that you sink like tons and tons of hours into. I'm not a fan of games like that usually, but this one looks amazing, and I think I might actually try it. And I do like the basic gameplay kind of for Fallout. I mean, I tried a little bit of New Vegas, but that that was on the PC, and plus there's so many other games around. I didn't really like New Vegas too much, but this one, like, the setting looks a lot better. The gameplay will probably be a lot better, and then plus the fact that it's PS4, it might be finally time to get into a Fallout game. Have you ever played a Fallout game before, Steven? I think you said you had, right?
Yeah, I played 3 and New Vegas, and I enjoyed them both. I like New Vegas a little bit more than 3. And this one looks like pretty similar to those. So, from a basic standpoint, but obviously it expands on that quite a bit. I'm excited to try it and see what it's all about. I just hope they haven't added like too much.
True, yeah.
Because, I mean, like, you were busy in the other ones, So, like, the stuff about building a base, like, at first that caught me as something that I would love to do. But then I thought about it, and I was like, you're never in one place for very long playing that game. Like, you're all over the place just exploring. So to always have to come back to this home base all the time, like, that might be kind of annoying. I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah, that's a good point. Especially if you have to defend
like
it
all
the time,
Yeah, I don't remember how it was like in New Vegas, but in Fallout 3 you had there was a quest you could do pretty early on in the game that gave you basically a room. I don't exactly remember, like I said, what New Vegas had you do, but it's the place where you had like your bobbleheads on display and you had a storage there and stuff like that. So it almost seems similar to that, just a lot more detailed. And they said all of that is optional. So I mean, you could go in, put on your pistol modifications however you want, and then build up a really subtle and simple base and make sure it's easy to defend, and then just go on your way and only come back when you need to change your weapons or store something or something like that.
That's
so
cool.
I mean, you don't need to. From what it sounded like, you don't have to go out and make 17 bases and have trade between them all and circle around and defend them all individually and stuff like that. And I mean, you could if you really wanted to, but it more sounded like this is an option that you could do, and it's kind of like Witcher 3, where they just add in content to continue, getting you to play the game for hours and hours and hours, even after the main story is over. So, I appreciate that sort of thing, where even if it almost seems like artificial padding of gameplay for the sake of adding hours onto your total time, if it's fun, I don't really have a problem with it. And Bethesda games usually are huge enough where they can get away with it.
Yeah. The other cool things was I did really like all the gun modifications, and I'm glad that it's in Boston as well because that's my home city. So that's going to be pretty interesting.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, hopefully they put in some like Easter eggs or just some stuff in there about the actual city and stuff that someone like me will get a kick out of. But either way, it looks like a really impressive game, and hopefully it ends up delivering. Because it does seem like a massive undertaking as far as making a game like that. So hopefully they're able to do it right. Other than that, I don't know. But did Bethesda have anything other than that? Other than those 3 games and some cell phone game for?
They had some like app stuff. I think they had a PC game.
Cell phone.
But other than that, not much.
But overall, I really thought it was a great conference. I mean, I think it was only like an hour, a little bit short, but that's totally fine. I think it's cool sometimes when they do them a little bit short and keep the pace really quick, which is what Sony did. But we'll talk about that later. And then the next conference,
real quick,
yeah.
Real quick, can we just point out also that I was totally spot on about my Fallout 4 prediction?
Yep.
This year, 11.
I was off on a ton.
Or 11-10.
On a ton of my predictions were way off. But yeah. Then there was Microsoft, and I think they had some decent stuff as far as like the overall presentation, but I didn't really think that they were game related. Like the backwards compatibility thing is, that's kind of a big deal to some people. But personally, I thought they should have had backwards compatibility from the start because 360 and Xbox One are x86, so there's no.
And that's my big problem with it. Is that like the only reason they have it is because they had such a falling out with fans when they launched. Because when they announced everything, it was so anti-consumer. So now they're having to put all this resource into proving that they're pro-consumer. Which that's my serious. They would have never done this had they not messed up so bad at the beginning.
Yeah, or so, like, if they were only 5 million behind in sales instead of 10, you know what I mean? Like I also would doubt that they would do this.
Right.
Like so, it is kind of
right. So yeah, like I think it's great for Xbox One owners. Mm-hmm. Like it's obviously like why wouldn't you want that? Mm-hmm. But I'm getting really tired of people like acting like it's a really noble move.
Yeah.
Like it's a desperate move.
It is for sure. And I'm also tired of people like saying that Sony, this and that, they need to do it too. They can't. I mean, maybe for PS1 and PS2, which would be awesome. PS3 is never going to happen. It just isn't. I mean, like the cell processor is way too different than anything in PCs or the current consoles, and the architecture in the PS3 was just totally different as well. I mean, you heard of developers struggling all last gen making games for it. I mean, it's because it was just really that different. I mean, there's no working emulators on PC for a reason. It's because it's just like it's so different to get it to work on an x86 system. It takes a lot. It takes either a lot of power or you gotta like basically recode the games. Like when Naughty Dog moved The Last of Us to PS4, like when they first got it up and running, it was less than 7 frames a second. Like and that's on a piece of hardware that's 6 times more powerful than PS3. So I mean that kind of gives you the idea of how different the PS3's architecture it is and how basically impossible it would be for them to create an emulator or some kind of backwards compatibility for PS4. But of course, there's going to be fanboys saying that Sony doesn't care, they just want to sell PS Now. PS Now is a reason, but that's not the main reason. PS Now is they pretty much created that because they know that there's no possible way backwards compatibility is going to work on PS4 or maybe even PS5, at least for PS3 games, and they wanted to have an alternative for people. Also, I mean, they wanted to spread it to other devices, like, they said TVs and PS Vita as well. It does have some relevance on there, but it's not just PS Now why they can't do it, and I think it's kind of silly that people are looking, Microsoft's so great for doing this, and Sony sucks for not, and when really that's not the case at all.
Yeah, that's what's been driving me nuts because I've been responding to tons of stuff on our social media about that, and it's just like I just can't believe some of the things people have been saying.
Yeah.
Just how Sony's like a bad company. It's like a week ago this didn't even cross your mind.
Yeah.
You know,
exactly.
and now you're saying that Sony owes it to you.
I mean, yeah, there's a lot of ignorance about the whole thing, and it's just kind of silly. And I hopefully Sony straightens out their messaging, you know, because Shuhei was saying that you know, doing backwards compatibility would be really hard. What he should really be saying that is it's basically impossible, because it basically is. I mean, they got talented people at Sony, but there's just only so much they can do without recoding the games. I mean, because that wouldn't be an option, obviously. You can't recode every PS3 game to work on PS4. And the other option is an emulator, which is also just not really an option as far as, you know, I'm no expert, but that's what it seems like, because, I mean, you know, like I was saying before, with the whole situation on PS3 and trying to get emulators to work on PC, it just doesn't happen. Like, and I don't know, it is kind of silly that people are on Sony's case about that when they really shouldn't. But you know, that's a big thing for Xbox owners, and you know, it would be cool to have a PS4, but I didn't sell my PS3, so I'm not really too worried about it. And I personally would rather have HD remasters. Like some people say,
right? Me too.
Like say that, you know, backwards compatibility would eliminate the need for HD remasters, which is absolute nonsense. Because I mean, the reason for HD remasters isn't just to be able to play the games on PS4. It's because they're a lot better. They're a lot better than the original versions, and there are some games that deserve, you know, the better treatment, the better the graphics and frame rate and all the other stuff that HD remasters bring. And I mean, like, I would much rather have an HD remaster of the Uncharted collection than to be able to play my Uncharted PS3 Blu-rays on my PS4. Like, no question.
And I mean, think about it. Who's going back to play Uncharted 1? Nobody is going back to play Uncharted 1 right now. But a lot of people are going to play it because it's coming out in the collection.
I was actually playing it because I was going to go through Uncharted until about a year ago, I heard that, you know, they're going to be doing the trilogy possibly for PS4. So I was like, all right, no point now. But I actually played it a little bit last week too, just for the hell of it. But yeah, no, I see what you mean. I mean, it's not the same thing. And other than that, I mean, they showed some Rise of the Tomb Raider, Halo 5, which, and I've always liked the Halo campaigns. I wasn't impressed, and it didn't look, I don't know, it didn't look the same to me, and not in a good way though.
Nathan Fillion.
What's that? Oh yeah, that was one.
It has Nathan
that
Fillion.
That was one plus side, I guess. And then
that was the highlight of my conference for Microsoft.
Yeah, that's what I'd say too. And then they showed Gears 4, which I personally thought looked bad. I don't know. What did you guys think?
I actually didn't watch the presentation. I was at work.
Oh, okay. But yeah, no, I mean,
I saw
the trailer I saw for Gears 4 I thought was very unimpressive, and I've never really liked Gears though. But just honestly, I was a little bit surprised they came out with something like that, because it was just kind of mundane and not at all what I would have expected from a new Gears game. You know what I mean? But and then other than that, I mean, I think they showed one new IP, which was Recore, which was kind of like Knack except with robots instead, or something. Like the little blue orb, you know, that connects, you know, that'll bring to life different parts. It kind of reminded me a lot of Knack in that way, but it's confusing but Inafune's working on it, so I'm sure it'll be good. But other than that, they showed more Rise of the Tomb Raider, which the demo they showed looked a lot like the first game, but in snow. At least as far as like the set piece they showed, it reminded me a lot of that one part where you're, you know, jumping through the different buildings and stuff, and they're getting torn down. But other than that, nothing really springs to mind as far as their conference.
They showed a couple neat-looking indies, I thought. There was Ashen, which reminded me of Eco. or just that aesthetic. It looked really neat, and it looked cool. And there was also Cuphead. Looks awesome, I thought.
Yeah, that looked great.
Yeah, speaking...
From what I saw, that's the one thing that grabbed me that I wish I could play.
Well, I think you can play it on PC, but...
Well, I have an Xbox One, so I'd rather play it there. If I don't have to play on PC, I don't.
Yeah, me too. But, yeah, that's pretty much it. And, I mean, EA had a conference. I mean, I didn't actually see it. From what I heard, it wasn't very impressive. And they didn't show much of Mass Effect Andromeda at all, other than just showing that it is a thing. I did see the trailer. It looked pretty cool, I guess, but it didn't really show much. And I personally was super excited about Mirror's Edge Catalyst, even though we already had heard about it before. Actually seeing it in action was really cool, and I'm a huge fan of the first game. And I was watching a video they did, with PlayStation, and apparently it's an open world. It's not like it was before, where you're in these different sections for each level. Basically, the whole open is open to you at the beginning. Like, you open more as you progress, but to me that sounds awesome. I absolutely loved the first game, and seems like it'll be a lot of fun. And of course they showed Battlefront, which looks decent, I guess. I'm not totally
I wish
sold.
it wasn't online only. That's my only thing, is that it looks amazing, and they have the aesthetic of Star Wars down. Like, that's almost as good as I can imagine it getting, because it looks perfect. But just playing multiplayer all the time, I don't know. I don't know if that's really going to be something that grabs me for too long.
Well, it isn't always online. I guess there is some single player stuff you can do offline, like as far as like little missions, but there's no campaign.
But they're kind of like they're kind of like multiplayer. I mean, it's the difference between going up players and bots.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's going to be pretty similar.
Well, I think the missions are more like a co-op type thing with only one player. And then, of course, there is co-op as well, but there's no campaign. And people use the argument, oh, well, other Battlefront games didn't have a campaign either. I personally don't care. I still wanted a campaign. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. I'm just not the type of person who would buy a $60 game that doesn't have a campaign. Like, I'll buy a $60 game that only has a campaign, but I'm just not... And I play a lot of multiplayer. It's just that I just don't feel like a multiplayer only or a co-op multiplayer only game is worth $60 personally. And it is kind of a shame that they're not doing a campaign, because I mean there's some cool things they could do with it, I think, but whatever. I mean, we'll see if it's any good when it comes out, and hopefully it is. Hopefully it's not 900p like their last two Battlefields have been, but whatever. And then Ubisoft, another meh conference.
Before we hit Ubisoft, do you want to hit Sony? So, because Brian only has 15 minutes.
Sure, yeah. I mean, Ubisoft, I was just going to go over that quickly. I don't really care about anything in their conference at all, personally. But, yeah, Sony. So, Sony's was awesome. I thought it was the best conference of the week. Do you guys agree? Do you think Sony won
Definitely
E3?
Best conference by far. I was shocked. Obviously, you guys know what announcement I'm thinking about, but when they announced the remake, I was laying on the couch. I was kicking my girlfriend. I just couldn't believe what was happening.
Yeah, it took a second to dawn on me, because I never played any Final Fantasies, but I almost kind of recognized the music, and then as soon as I saw that sword, though, I was like, oh god. And it's like, then hearing the crowd roar when they went back to the conference instead of just showing that was awesome. And I kind of wish they did it like Bethesda, where while they were showing the trailer, you could hear the crowd in the background a little bit. Because it's like, I thought that was one of the coolest things about the Doom presentation, is because while he was going around like snapping the necks of these demons, you could hear the crowd react to it. And if they did that with Final Fantasy, I mean, yeah, maybe you wouldn't have been able to hear a word that the guy was saying, the narrator in the trailer, but I still think it would have been awesome to hear how crazy the crowd went for that, because I mean, just judging by their reaction after the trailer ended was just, I mean, it must have been crazy in there, and that like it's definitely awesome that they're doing it finally, especially after they kind of trolled everybody at PlayStation Experience with the Final Fantasy VII port.
Isn't that kind of funny though? That like,
yeah, it is funny.
They did that, and like it seemed that kind of what happened at PSX made me think it would never happen.
Yeah.
And then sure enough, 6 months later they got.
I hope they did it on purpose. Like I said, to troll people, because I mean I can't think of any other reason that, you know, unless they.
They said that's about when they started to work on it. They said it was before December 2014.
Oh. See, I actually.
So it must have been right before they did that.
Yeah, no, that's crazy. And then, of course, for me, the highlight of the show was The Last Guardian. I've been eagerly anticipating this game forever, and I couldn't have been happier with it, with what they showed. Like, it's clearly a Team Ico game. It's clearly in the same universe as the first, you know, other two games, and I thought it was awesome. Like, just the music, the animation, the gameplay itself was very Team Ico, and also like the, you know, the kind of set piece type things. Like, it was just awesome. And plus, I really love that creature, the Trico or whatever it's called. You know, it reminds you of a dog, bird, or maybe a little bit of a cat, but it seems like it's like gonna be your best friend through that whole entire game, and that, I don't know, it just seems awesome to me. Like, and I can't wait to play it. I was kind of a little bit disappointed that it wasn't coming out this year, but I guess I kind of understand that, you know, they have to work on it more. But I was kind of surprised, honestly, because I thought, for, you know, with all the time they've spent on it, and PS4 having basically nothing this year as far as releases, I thought they would have, you know, been closer to release, but I guess not. I mean, what did you guys think?
Brian, what did you think about it?
I'm going to probably get a lot of flack for it, and it's going to make it for a good conversation some other time, but I was a little disappointed by the Final Fantasy VII Remake reveal. Despite what my handle is, I kind of think Final Fantasy VII is a little overrated, and it's just one of those things that I'm tired of remasters and remakes and all that. I want new IP, so, you know, it's just another, you know, basically remaster. I mean, this one's gonna be a little different. It's a little more, you know, at the heart of, or rather, a little more beloved by a lot of people than some other things. But, you know, I don't know. I don't know how I feel about that remake announcement. The Last Guardian looked good, but I never really got too into Eco or Shadow of the Colossus, so I'm not too concerned about that. Honestly, the highlight for me from Sony's conference was probably Shenmue 3. I really didn't expect that at all. I was a huge Shenmue fan on Dreamcast back in the day, so just seeing that come back to life is a little amazing for me.
Yeah.
And then again, I guess the three of us each saying the three most unlikely possible things all happening at the same conference just kind of sums up what Sony did all in all.
And I think that's why they won this E3, is because, you know, they delivered what people would have dreamed of but never would have expected to actually happen. And it's funny, like, I thought one of the lowlights of their conference was the fact that the games we do have coming out on PS4 this year were relegated to this short little montage trailer thing in the middle of the conference. Yeah. And it's like, I can't believe they would do that, because it's like they have Until Dawn coming out in a couple months. That's a full AAA game, and they show this tiny little clip of it. And I mean, they have all these amazing indies coming out soon too, like Rocket League, Volume, Everybody's Gone to the Rapture. I think there's one other that I'm forgetting. coming out in August and like they didn't mention that at all, except for that little trailer thing, and it's like I thought that was kind of shocking, and also the other weird thing is no mention or presence of that game Rhyme at E3 as far as I know. And I find that huge.
That and The Witness.
Yeah, The Witness too. That's the craziest thing because oh man, I almost forgot about that because that game is so long overdue. It's ridiculous at this point, and nothing.
It seemed like they were both like done.
Well, I don't know about Rhyme. I don't think
The Witness particular. Yeah, The Witness particular.
For sure, they were done. Basically, I mean, they said that all the puzzles were done. And all they had to do is, the final stages of development. And that was like 6 months ago they said that. And it's like, it's crazy. And I mean, also I thought it was a little bit weird that No Man's Sky still doesn't have a release date. And, but yeah.
It sounds like that may be more of a, I don't know if that's are they Hello Games?
Yeah.
I think that may be less of them and more of Sony. Sony must be preventing them from coming out with that because they said they're really close to giving it.
Mm-hmm.
So you got to wonder why they wouldn't give it there if they had any idea. Like even if they could just give a month or a quarter. You know what I mean? Because obviously if he says they're really close to giving it, they could at least give a quarter when they're going to release it.
I kind of have that feeling with Journey almost. The Journey remake, because there was actually a rumor like for some retailer had Journey PS4's release date, well the retail version, on June 3rd, which obviously didn't happen, and I can't think of any reason why it hasn't happened yet, because I mean it seems like the game should be done by now, but I guess it is at E3 though, which is a good sign, but hopefully they announce that soon. Like I was kind of hoping that they would announce the release date at E3, but they didn't. Yeah, I mean, there's definitely some.
What do you guys think about Horizon?
Oh yeah, how could we forget that?
Looks great.
Looks incredible, absolutely incredible. That would have been my game at E3 if it wasn't for Last Guardian and Uncharted. But I mean,
I think that could be the next going forward. I think that could be like one of Sony's staple franchises.
I definitely think so. Yeah, because I mean, especially with the crowd reaction. I mean, well, not the crowd, but I mean just the whole gaming community. Pretty much everybody is happy with it and really into it, and I'm happy for Guerrilla Games because I've always been a huge fan of them, and it's nice to see them finally get some recognition. And I think this game will really help them come out of their shell a little bit. And I thought the graphics looked absolutely incredible as usual for them, but I mean for a pre-alpha game, it's just really impressive to see the state that game was in. And I mean they said 2016 for the release. I wouldn't be surprised if they had it ready for next summer or even earlier. I'd say holiday 2016 at the latest with the state that game is in, because I mean they've been working on it for a while and it already looks incredible. And yeah, that was definitely one of the highlights of the show. Yeah.
There's one thing I'll say about kind of the whole the whole E3 in general. Mm-hmm. There was a lot of games I felt like I saw kind of in motion, like gameplay in motion.
Yeah, I like that a lot.
You know what I mean? Yeah. There's less teasers.
Yeah, there were some teasers for other stuff, but like EA with Mass Effect and stuff, but it did seem like we're seeing
Horizon,
a lot more gameplay.
Last Guardian, Uncharted.
Yep.
That's all stuff from the game, which I give them credit for.
No Man's Sky as well.
Tougher to get. Yeah, that too. That stuff's a little tougher to get together, and they did it, and it all looked really good.
Yep. And of course, you have PC fanboys claiming, oh, that wasn't a real game that was pre-rendered, and pretty much Uncharted 4 proved that wrong with the controller not working.
Yeah,
that was a pretty funny
situation. And I don't know, did you guys read at all about the rest of the Uncharted demo? I guess it really blew people away. Everyone's raving about it.
I heard about it, but I really hope it leaks or something because I gotta see it. I mean, I wonder if Sony only gave him a certain amount of time, and that's why they didn't show the rest of it. But I really wanted to see the rest of it, because especially from what I keep hearing from everybody, like everybody that's seen it saying that it's like incredible, and that's one of my predictions where I was expecting, a typical, classic Uncharted crazy set piece type insane moment, and they did show that at A3, just not at the conference. And I mean, not that I was disappointed with what they showed of Uncharted 4. I thought it was absolutely spectacular what they showed. I mean, between the shootout, which with all the destructible environments, I thought was wicked impressive. The whole truck with the turret thing chasing you around, I just thought it looked awesome. And then the whole Jeep thing, I thought that was really cool because it's like it was you could tell it was way less linear than it would have been in the past. Like there was definitely a bunch of different paths you could take to avoid that truck in certain places. Like I mean, in the meat of it, there was it definitely seemed like you didn't necessarily have to go on that route that he took, which I thought is really cool. Like because in general they seem to be trying to make Uncharted 4 more open than the past games, and it was definitely nice to see that in action. And I mean, plus the humor between Sully and Drake is better than ever. I thought it was hilarious, and man, I just can't wait for that game. But I think it'll be cool to play the multiplayer beta when that comes out this year. But
right,
yeah. What did you guys think of No Man's Sky?
I think it's really cool. Brian, what did you say?
I just want to play it.
Yeah.
It's becoming the new Division or Watch Dogs, where we've just seen so much shit about it for the last 2 years. It seems like just forever, and then still no release date, still nothing, still waiting to play it. And these games need to. What I appreciate with Bethesda doing is release the game, or rather show the game, and have a release date for a few months from now. And if Fallout does come out in November, then that's fantastic, and more people need to start doing that. Because we have The Last Guardian for the last many years.
My thoughts with No Man's Sky with the release date is I think it's ready to go for like October, November, but they don't want to release it there because no one will play it, because you're not going to play a game without much of a purpose when Fallout's on the shelf, Tomb Raider's on the shelf, Call of Duty. People aren't going to get in the game with that's kind of just exploration. You're going to lose hours in that when you have them, but people aren't going to have the hours in November. So maybe they're waiting for like February or January.
Oh, God.
When games like Dying Light burst in January because there wasn't anything else to play. So if you come bring it out in a week like that, tons of people will get it. They'll all get lost in the game, and they'll sink hours in. And then when the next thing comes up, they'll move on. But if they have other things to play, that's not really. I don't think that's going to win out over like other big like AAA games.
Yeah, I hate that idea though, not releasing into 2015 when they clearly can. I personally hope they just release it sooner rather than later, just because I mean, it's obviously close, and it's definitely one of those. It's an always online game. I mean, it's one of the few cases I'd say where it's a game that actually has to be always online, which is why I'm still interested in it. But it's one of those games that they could easily release it now and then just add more to it later if they have more stuff in mind, because I mean it's always online anyway, so having to add patches later I don't really see as a big problem. I mean, as long as it's not buggy and stuff, which I mean it could be, but I think that wouldn't take till 2016 basically. So I hope it's not that Sony's not holding it off, or something like that. Hopefully it comes out sooner than later, like I said. But yeah, I thought the stuff he showed from the gameplay looked cool, and I like you guys said, I just want to play it. I'm definitely really into the sci-fi type stuff, and the idea of exploring planets and stuff like that. It seems like it's gonna be really cool. Especially, I really liked how he showed that thing with the Sentinels. I think that definitely makes it a lot more interesting now, because I don't think they ever mentioned anything like that before, as far as sentinels coming after you, and you having a heat level, but depending on how much you destroy or kill, and then the more and more of them come out. That seems really interesting to me. But other than that, yeah, I totally agree with you, Brian, about games teasing too much. I totally agree about Fallout 4. Like, I love the fact that they said nothing until it's basically ready. And it's like, I wish they did that with The Last Guardian. I was happy to see it, but I am getting a little sick of seeing these announcements about these games, and then they're not coming out for another 2 or 3 years sometimes, depending on the game. And it's just, getting annoying at this point. And it seems like this generation in general, games are taking way longer to make, and teasing them doesn't help it. Like, it just makes us realize more how much longer games are taking to be made this generation. And I think the wait would be a lot easier to deal with if they didn't tease it so far out, and like you said, just show the game, show the gameplay, and then have a release date a couple months later. Like, I wish companies would do that a lot more. But other than that, it wasn't at any particular conference, but we did get to see a new trailer for Metal Gear Solid 5, and I guess they also released a 40-minute demo today, that kind of like the ones they did the last 2 E3s, which were awesome, by the way. I don't know if you guys saw those demos, but I'm kind of waiting for this new one. I'm kind of waiting for Gamerside to get some high-quality footage of it like they did the last 2 years, because, I mean, it basically is like watching the actual game on your PS4. It's really that high quality that Gamerside gets from Kojima, because they always send it to him. But the trailer looked cool, and at the end you could see the twin Snakes, Solid and Liquid Snake are actually going to be in the game, which I think is just awesome. Did either of you guys happen to
I saw the trailer.
Catch that trailer?
Yeah, I saw the trailer. I saw it. I'm not too keen on the demo or gameplay or anything like that. Again, it's just one of those games that I want to play. I've waited long enough, and I want to just, so it's one of my favorite series, and I just want to dive into it. That's why I don't care too much about the Uncharted extended gameplay demo that they had behind closed doors. The little trailer they showed was enough for me. It's just another, 2 more games I just want to play. I don't really care about seeing them. I just want to play them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It does kind of make the wait harder to know how good the game is turning out, but but yeah, also Square Enix had some good stuff as far as like Mad Max and Just Cause 3. I mean, look absolutely incredible, I thought. Did you guys get to see any of Square Enix's conference at all, or? Also, Kingdom Hearts 3.
I didn't actually. Yeah, I didn't get to see it, but people are going nuts about Kingdom Hearts 3, from what I heard.
It looked awesome. I never played those games before, but it looked really cool.
I don't know. I mean, it's Kingdom Hearts. It's going to play great. It's going to look great. It just, I don't know. The demo I saw almost looked too realistic. I always enjoyed Kingdom Hearts being really, not really cartoony, but still cartoony to an extent. And because it's Disney, so there inherently has to be some cartooniness to it. But the trailer I saw, Sora almost looked like a real person, which kind of threw me off a little bit. I mean, I don't know if that'll translate into seeing more of it in action versus just, bits and pieces of a lot of action happening. But honestly, for me, the standout was... It was either, if it wasn't Star Ocean, it was Nier. Nier is one of those cult classics I loved, and just that they're doing another one is mind-blowing. And
dude, I felt the same way. Like, yeah. I was gonna say mind-boggling. I can't believe they're going back to that again, but I'm so glad that they are.
Yeah, I heard that it was a really good game, so that is cool. They're going, and in general, it seems like that this whole E3 had a lot of love for the JRPG genre, it seems. which is I think hopefully will sell more PS4s over in Japan once those games finally come out. But yeah, it definitely seems really cool. I think overall this might be it's definitely the best E3 I've ever seen. I mean, what do you guys have you guys can think of anything better, like any E3s in the past? Because I personally, can't.
I would say, oh yeah, hands down best. Because this one really it combined two big things, like the remakes and stuff, which those are huge for some people, but not for everybody. But then it also had tons of new IPs and like new games.
Yeah, but
because I mean, like for instance, like Infamous was a big E3 surprise, I believe. I think it was E3, but you don't know what it is, so it's kind of like looks cool, but what is it, This time you had like Horizon, and you could actually see tangibly what it is, but then you also had the Final Fantasy VII remake. So there's really something for everybody. There's tons of reason to own, and actually all of the conferences had stuff kind of like this, like new and old, and all kinds of reasons for certain people to own the console or buy from the publisher. Yeah, except Nintendo.
Yeah.
Well, they're an in-between year right now. The NX is clearly coming out. In probably 2 years they have to. I feel like they're going to concentrate and focus on it next year. So this year is kind of cutting cords with the Wii U, making sure all the stuff that they promised us out the door, like Zelda and Yoshi's Woolly World and stuff like that, and then once those games are out and done with, then they could wash their hands and move on. That's the message I got from Nintendo, at least.
I kind of think it's a shame that they're announcing this NX thing already, because it's like Zelda is coming out, and I mean that's a system seller, but it's like if the NX is coming out, why would you buy a Wii U even for Zelda? You know what I mean? Like, because you could get people that maybe will
Mario Kart
take the dive if they if they see Zelda, Mario Kart 8, and all the other like really good games, but if they know there's another system coming out, like it completely would make me not get it when I actually was considering getting one for Zelda, but now I'm definitely not because they're talking about this new console, and it's like I kind of don't like the fact that they're even talking about the NX at this point.
Well, the problem is they I mean, if Mario Kart was not a system seller, and Smash Brothers wasn't a system seller, then Zelda isn't. Because I don't remember where I heard it, but the statistic was, despite there being like 100 million Wiis, Skyward Sword sold like 4 million, which is abysmal.
Really?
So I mean,
holy crap.
Yeah. It was pretty bad overall.
I heard that stat recently as well.
Well, with
I think actually heard that from Colin Moriarty on something that he was doing. So I mean,
I think that would have been their preview show.
If Skyward Sword couldn't sell more than 4%, then there's no way that Zelda Wii U, despite how amazing it looks, is going to be a system seller. It's just, it sucks, but I could see them kind of moving on.
I'm just saying that,
and just focusing on the next
I'm just
thing.
saying that like people that possibly would be interested in getting a Wii U for Zelda are probably less likely to, because they're talking about NX and yeah, that is a bit surprising about Skyward Sword, but I still think that it would have been better for Zelda and the Wii U to not talk about NX this early. I mean, unless it's coming out like next year, which I doubt, but I mean, who knows? I mean, I understand they want to cut ties with the Wii U, but already talking about the new system is only going to hurt their sales going forward.
Like, do they have shareholders?
Oh, yeah, probably, yeah.
Do they have shareholders?
Probably, yeah.
I mean, I'm sure that has a big part to do with it, because think about, like, right now with how the Wii U is doing really, really bad, like really bad. To
10 million.
Continue through another E3 without even the acknowledgement that there's something else, like, going to pick you up eventually, like, that'd be really bad, because, the Wii U is not going to sell that much more regardless. I'd say even if you came out with like a good Mario, I mean, it still wouldn't reach 20 million.
Oh yeah. but like I'm saying, like
I
think it's actually hurting them to be talking about the NX this early, because I mean, next E3 they could reveal it just for the start, but instead they're talking about it now, which I think is kind of weird. Like, I just feel like that's only going to hurt sales for them. And I mean, I do know that when Mario Kart came out in Smash Brothers, the sales for the Wii U did actually pick up big time compared to what it had been doing before. And I think Zelda would probably have the same effect to a certain extent. Maybe not as much, because a lot of the people that, probably already got their Wii U when those other two games came out. But yeah, I feel like they're kind of hurting themselves by talking about NX this early. I mean, not that they're not already in a ditch as it is when it comes to Wii U, because I mean, the thing is, like you said, 10 million units. I mean, I think it's about level with Vita right now, which says it all pretty much. But they are selling a ton of 3DSs and all that stuff at the same time. But yeah, I don't know. Hopefully the next console they do is a little bit more up to par with the current consoles and brings them back to where they used to be, which was in direct competition with PlayStation and, at the time, Sega.
Well, the thing is, you gotta decide. Like the Nintendo Wii U didn't decide what it wanted to be.
True. Yeah.
The Wii was clearly below the PS3 and 360, but I mean, it didn't matter because it carved out its own entire market.
Yeah.
The Wii U kind of was competing with the PS3 and 360, and not at all really with the PS4 and Xbox One. But the PS3 and 360 not only had all the third-party games that it had, but I mean, they had giant libraries already.
Yeah.
You can't just lean on those first-party Mario games.
Yeah,
as good as they are.
I'm still confused, like, what they were trying to go for with the Wii U. Like, because I mean, it wasn't, trying to use a gimmick like we did, and it wasn't trying to be like a full-on a big console to compete with Xbox and PlayStation like the N64 was. And I don't know, it's just kind of weird. But at the same time, I mean, I don't know what to expect with the NX thing. I don't know if it's going to be like, a really powerful console, like, more powerful than PS4 or Xbox One, or if they're just going to put one out that's on par with them but cheaper, because at the time it comes out, that type of performance will not cost nearly as much as it did when the PS4 and Xbox One
What if
came
it's
out,
like
so.
What if it's kind of like Apple TV with like a controller?
That'll probably be even worse than Wii U.
I don't know, like, because what if it's like $100, but it can play like new games, but they don't come on a disc; they just come on like a stream.
That sounds horrible to me. Streaming games, relying on that sounds like a horrible idea to me. But
I don't know, like their games aren't that taxing.
No, Nintendo can't do the internet now as it is with Wii or Wii U.
I guess that's a really good
stream
point.
Games like PS Now.
I
guess that's a really good point.
I don't think any console can do that. I mean, like, PS Now kind of works, but like when you really get down to it, no matter how good the service is, there's still a ton of latency. Like, there's already a lot of latency as it is. Like, I mean, between, the TV, the controller lag, there's already a good amount of latency, and adding more to that, like, I mean, the internet streaming games pretty much doubles all that latency, basically, which is
the only reason why I suggest that is because of all the talk of it being Android-based, which I think was debunked anyway.
Yeah.
But just that idea that it's going to be something kind of, dumbed down from what, like, a new console would be, like trying to keep up with the PS4 and Xbox One.
Yeah, I don't know. I think personally that might be an even bigger mistake than the Wii U was, but we'll see what they decide to do. But yeah, personally, I hate the idea of a streaming only console, or a console without a disc drive in it. Like, I'm just not a fan of that whole thing, and I hope...
See, generally I do too, but I mean, like, if you think about, like, Apple TV, like, at $70, like, they sell like hotcakes, people have them. I think
Well,
Nintendo's problem is trying to find like a price point.
I don't
Like
think
they made the Wii U for $300, but it was more expensive than the PS3 and 360, which was their main competition. I mean, who would buy that? No one would buy that.
Yeah, but I mean, I don't really see any serious gamers using an Apple TV as their gaming platform.
Yeah, but how many serious gamers are buying Wii U's?
Well, I mean,
Or even the Wii.
definitely.
Like the Wii,
I'd say that.
the Wii didn't sell because people wanted to play serious games on it.
I mean, Wii U pretty much, it is either serious gamers or kids that have it, and so I think like making it an Apple TV type thing might actually be even worse because then you'll lose the interest of the serious gamers probably, like.
But I think you pick up the casual gamers that bought the Wii. That's why the Wii was successful.
I don't think it'll ever be in the way that the Wii was, or I don't know. I personally think that it wouldn't work. Like,
see, I think it could easily be that way if they need to go way lower price. It needs to be 200 or less.
Yeah.
Launch. Because the Wii sounds like it was expensive at 300, but it was half the price of the PS3 when it launched.
True.
I think, or was it 400?
No, it was. I'm pretty sure it was 300 when it launched. I believe.
So that's half the price of the PS3. I
Yeah.
mean, that's how you carve out a niche. Is clearly being you're not as strong as the competition, but you're something different.
Well, if they did a decently strong console, I think they could do that for $200 or even $250. At the time it comes out, because by then the parts will be a lot cheaper. So they can get a lot of performance and then still sell it for relatively cheap, as long as they get rid of any stupid gimmicks like having a controller with a screen on it. Like if they just make it like a regular console, I think they could actually produce like a pretty powerful console and still keep the price down low, however it's at least a year's time that thing's going to be coming out. By then, I mean, the parts are constantly going down in price as far as like graphics cards and CPUs. I think by then they might be able to, still have a really low price point, but be able to have performance that'll actually compete with and probably run the same games that the Xbox One and PS4 do. That's personally what I think they should do. Like instead of trying
that's
be
like,
this
say if it
in-between
comes out
type
in 2
thing.
years from today, it's already 4 years behind those two consoles.
That's
and the
true.
same thing's going to happen to Wii U.
That's true.
It'll be competing with PS4 and Xbox One. They'll have gigantic libraries, and in a year or two later, they'll come out with their new systems.
Yeah, they're definitely in a tough spot. I mean, maybe in that case, then that they should try to make a console to compete with PS5 and Xbox 2. Xbox 2. And just whatever they call it, the next Xbox. I mean, but I don't know. They're in a tough spot for sure, and I have no idea what they're going to do. But personally, I've always wanted Nintendo to rejoin the full-on console space of the market, because I loved my Nintendo 64 so much. It's still one of my favorite consoles ever, so I really would like Nintendo to go back to that. But the only problem is they also don't have a ton of first-party studios left now. I mean, Rare's gone, and they just got their main Nintendo, which is making good games, but only they don't make a ton of them though. Who knows? I don't know. But yeah, E3.
I don't know if you wanted to talk about Ubi or whatever else, but I have to go now. Sorry.
Okay.
That's all right.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm not too keen on anything Ubi's doing. I mean,
the only thing I loved about Ubi was the South Park announcement.
Oh, is that?
That was huge. Because no one thought that was even possible, because Matt and Trey did not want to do any more games.
Oh, really?
Somehow they got him to flip the switch. That's huge. Because I love South Park, and that game had me laughing my ass off the entire time.
So is it going to be another game like The Stick of Truth?
Right. Yep.
Yeah, Yeah, no, I heard a lot of good things about the Stick of Truth, but I've never liked turn-based strategy, and I didn't want to play on PS3 either. So, but I don't know.
No, it was really,
so that
really
I mean,
good.
that's one new thing they announced. But as far as the Division, Assassin's Creed, and what else do they do? I know Rainbow
They
Six
had a new
Siege.
game, For Honor, the medieval sword type game.
Oh. Now, is that going to be like a full-on AAA, or is it going to be like that free-to-play thing
I
they
think
did?
it is, and I think it's like 4-player, like co-op battles. I don't know. It's hard to tell. Because they showed it kind of in action, but it was hard to tell what the teams were doing.
Yeah.
And even if that's like the whole game.
Yeah. I'll have to check that out.
It's tough when you see multiplayer to tell what it is.
Yeah, I hear you on that.
You know, they're showing multiplayer, but is that the game or is that an aspect of the game?
I hope it's not another always online multiplayer.
Yeah, because kind of like we touched on with Star Wars Battlefront.
Getting sick of Ubisoft doing that stuff, always online, just for the sake of doing it. Like they don't even need it, but they do it anyways.
The multiplayer is fun or cool, but like if that's the whole game, it totally flips the script on whether or not I want to buy it.
100%. Same here, and the Division's a perfect example of it. I mean, it looks like it could have been interesting had it not be, nothing but online gameplay, and that to me just like I'm completely uninterested in it now. And Assassin's Creed has been dead to me ever since 4. So I could care less about that, but this one particularly looks weak. There's nothing at all that seems interesting about it, and a lot of the things they improved with Unity as far as the whole series, it seems like they took it away and went back to. I don't know. It seems like this is just not going to be a good one.
Yeah, there's no multiplayer in.
I'm a bit surprised people are excited
one.
about it. To be honest, Syndicate, it just looks even more uninteresting to me than Unity did. But then Rainbow Six Siege, which is like another one where it seems like if you don't have 4 of your friends with headsets, it's gonna suck to play. Like, or if there's,
right.
if at least all your teammates don't have headsets, it's not gonna work. And to me, that's another ridiculous thing. Like, why would you make a $60 game be like that? I just don't get it. And
see, part of me wonders, are they going to pull the thing where they package a headset with the game? I don't think they will.
I mean, each console comes
Sony
with
did
headsets.
that with first-party games. Oh yeah, that's right.
But
so they won't do that in this.
I mean, the headsets aren't the best, and I don't know. I mean, for $60, there's no single player for that game, right? I don't think so.
I'm not sure.
I don't think there's any campaign. So if you're going to charge $60 for what is basically a co-op game, the least they could do is give us a mic with the game. But
right.
I don't know. I'm not interested in that. I think they did announce another Rainbow Six game or something. No, it was Ghost Recon, right? I think it was Wild.
Yeah,
something.
Ghost Recon Wildlands.
Yeah. I didn't
Which
get to
looks
see
kind of
that.
cool.
I didn't.
But I mean.
Yeah. Yeah.
It kind of looked a little bit like Far Cry 4.
Oh.
Kind of like an open world with they're encampments, but in this case they're drug cartel stuff. Except you're playing in like a squad.
Oh, so is that another like multiplayer only or always online thing?
It's hard to tell, really.
I mean, if it's single player
it's hard
only,
to tell if they could be AI. They could be AI, but
yeah, if it's like
I think they were in the other ones, right? For PS3, like the GRAW games, Ghost Recon Advanced Warfare. They're like
it was AI, at least for the single player. I mean, there was a multiplayer mode with some of those games, but as far as like GRAW, that was definitely AI, and it was a single player thing.
Yeah, so maybe that's how it'll work in this one too.
I mean, that would be cool if it was single player with optional but yeah, I don't know. We'll we'll see what happens with that one. But personally, like, as far as the open world this year, I'm totally excited about Mad Max and Just Cause 3, and then of course Metal Gear Solid 5. Those games look really, really good, and I mean, I'm definitely excited to play. And I'm also really glad that Mad Max and Metal Gear Solid 5 are coming out on September 1st. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if Mad Max got delayed a little bit, and same thing with Just Cause 3. Like, I think they said December 1st for that release date, and considering a couple months before that they're having to release Mad Max, I wouldn't be surprised if one of them got delayed or both of them got delayed. I mean, do you think they'll actually make that date?
See, I think Mad Max, it was a huge mistake not to release it alongside the movie.
I guess so.
Now,
Yeah.
part of that, I'm sure they couldn't.
Yeah,
They just couldn't
clearly
get it done
not
in
ready.
time.
Yeah.
But the movie had so much good publicity, and by the time that comes out, people will kind of be forgetting about the movie. Not only that, but if all the reviews say it's nothing like the movie, I think those two things are really going to hurt it really bad, and I'm pretty sure both those things are going to happen.
Yeah, I'm not sure how much it's going to hurt it, but I definitely think they could have got some easy sales had it been out at the same time as the movie. Like, even if they did have reviews that were saying it's nothing like the movie, I think, there would be some people that would buy it just because it says Mad Max on it. Now, I think that...
Yeah, I mean, you just get that foot traffic in the store. People see Mad Max, they're like, oh, wow, I just saw it last night. I need to play this game.
Yeah, I don't think anyone's going to forget Mad Max by the time the game comes out. I definitely don't think that, but... I do think that maybe people won't be as high on it and maybe won't be feel that urge to buy it just because it's Mad Max when it does come out. But I think it's going to do well, though. Like, because I mean, it looks like an amazing game. I think they've done an incredible job marketing it. Like, they did a trailer recently. It was kind of like that GTA 5 trailer that explained everything. One of those trailers that just completely sell you on the game. And so I think Mad Max is going to do well, even though it's going up against Metal Gear Solid 5, which undoubtedly is gonna do well too. But I think I think that it's kind of amazing that Avalanche is doing both of those games in their only 3 months apart. I mean, they must have a large team working on it, but I'm super excited to play both of them.
I think it's gonna flop pretty big time.
We'll see. I'll be surprised if it does.
I really hope they change that date.
I don't think it's gonna flop by any means, because I mean, also it's in September, which is really a great time to release a game. Always has been. There's a history of games doing much better than they probably should have because they got way ahead of the holiday rush, and I think that's what's going to happen with Mad Max and Metal Gear Solid, because right. Like, there's really no games coming out at that time as far as AAA other than a couple sports games, which I really consider like almost a different market completely, because I mean there are a sports game crowd and then a gaming crowd, but they don't really mix too much like that. It's for the most part, and other than that, there's just Until Dawn, and then after that, I know there's a couple games coming out in October, like the Uncharted trilogy, but not a ton of stuff. So, I think that huge drought leading up to, the big holiday rush, I think there's going to be a lot of people looking for a game to play to hold them over till when, whatever game they want, whether it's Call of Duty or Fallout or who knows. I actually think that both of those games are going to do well because they're coming out in September. So we'll have our own little wager on what happens with that. But
that's right.
We'll see what happens. I hope it doesn't flop. Because I mean, the more games Avalanche puts out, the better. I think, because I think they're a really good studio. Yeah. But
I think I'd like to see him move the release up. Just move it up 1 week.
Yeah, or
because I don't think people will play it for. Well, I don't know. I guess we'll have to wait for reviews to see how much content is in there. But I think that's the type of game that people that really want it can get it, play the hell out of it for a week, beat it, and then grab Metal Gear Solid the next week.
Yeah, like, I mean, I am gonna.
But I feel like
face a dilemma on. getting both games at the same time. But I'm obviously going to play Metal Gear Solid first. But
right, and that's the thing too, is that each of them, if they both require a lot of time, people that are looking at both, I mean, they're probably going to go Metal Gear Solid. And unfortunately, that game sounds like there's so much to do.
Yeah,
that they may not even get it, especially because it's not that big of a change of pace. Like the driving will be a big change of pace, but the open world desert kind of setting.
Yeah, you never know though, because I mean, there are a lot of people that are a bit turned off by Metal Gear Solid. It's like I know I personally have friends that even try Ground Zeroes and they say it's too hard or whatever nonsense. But so maybe if they delayed Mad Max by 2 weeks, I mean, because I don't see them moving it into August, that's for sure. Although that would be smart if they put it maybe 2 weeks before Metal Gear Solid 5. I think that would be a really good move, but I just doubt they can. Like I think they need to finish polishing the game, so maybe delaying it by 2 or 3 weeks might be better. Because even if they do that, they still won't be going up against any other games, really. There's not really anything coming out in September, and not a whole lot coming out in October either, so...
No.
So, yeah.
And I mean, the stuff that I feel like is coming out isn't as directly relatable as Metal Gear Solid is, Like, yeah, Until Dawn comes out,
Very different type of game, yeah.
That doesn't line up.
Plus it's exclusive. So.
When does Tearaway come out?
I can't remember. I think
that has a date, maybe July. But again, like all these games that Sony has coming out, everyone's gone to the Rapture. All these things are not at all like that. So you can easily buy both if you even think about it. But that's the thing that worries me about Metal Gear Solid is they're too similar. That someone's not going to be wanting to play both, even like at the same time, not to change up the pace even.
Yeah, I hear what you're saying. That is true. I think that they probably don't want to go directly up against Metal Gear Solid, which is surprising. I mean, actually, I think they said September 1st before Metal Gear Solid did so. But yeah, maybe it would be in their best interest to move it away from Metal Gear Solid a bit. I still don't think it's going to flop, but I think the sales will be hurt if they release it on the same day, though. That's for sure.
Yeah. Hopefully they change it just for the sake of the game. I mean, it seems kind of silly to do that, but...
I mean, and hopefully Just Cause 3 does actually come out on December 1st so they can get it out before Christmas. Although, I mean, I'm not sure how many parents are going to be buying their kids Just Cause 3. But... yeah, typically, publishers do really try hard to release games before Christmas, and that's definitely one of my most anticipated games. And I think, thanks to PlayStation Plus and I think maybe even Xbox Live Gold released Just Cause 2 for free. Thanks to that, I think there's actually a ton of people that are looking out for that game and definitely want to buy it because. When Just Cause 2 first came out, as far as I know, it kind of went under the radar, but it was just such an amazing game, and I think a lot of people are into the idea of a third one, and the game itself looks amazing, and they're doing a great job with the trailers. The kind of the same thing I was saying with Mad Max, where they're doing that kind of GTA 5 type trailer where they explain all the features and make it sound like the greatest game on earth and completely sell you on it, and
right.
I played Just Cause 2. I played the hell out of it, and I loved it. Like, I was really happy that PlayStation gave us that for free because I never would have even looked at that game because I never heard of it. I never knew anything about it, and it turns out that it's one of the most amazing open world games I've played. I think. I mean, did you get into that game yourself, or?
No, you know what? I turned it on. I did the demo mission, not demo, the tutorial mission. And I was like, it just looks too big. I don't know if I want to do this right now. And then I never went back to it.
You're missing out. At first, it's not totally apparent what to do in the game and like all the crazy things you can do with the parachute and grappling hook. I certainly didn't know about it within the first mission either. But I mean, it is worth it to go back and check it out because I mean, it's an incredible game, and yeah, the open world is huge, but it's only at the beginning that it actually takes you a long time to get anywhere. Because I mean, once you visit a certain location, you can just basically fast travel there. So it's only at the beginning that it ever takes any time to get anywhere, and if you do have to go somewhere far, all you have to do is just call up to have a little one of those little jets delivered, and you just fly it over, and it's pretty quick. And from that point on, it's just a really fun game. And the only issue I had with it is that you did run out of ammo quite a bit, so you'd have to constantly call your support chopper to drop you off some, which did get annoying, especially because it was pretty expensive ammo too. So you could end up running out of money before you're, even done doing what you're doing. But thankfully, Just Cause 3 has fixed that. They have infinite C4, and I think the ammo problems have been resolved as well. So I think it's just a recipe for an amazing game. And I also like the location. It's in the Mediterranean. So I don't know. It's one of the many games that I'm looking forward to. And most of the games, great games coming out this year are third party. But I don't think that's a huge problem.
No, I kind of agree. And, Sony's exclusive lineup is weak in the fall and winter.
Yeah.
But there's still a lot coming out, so I'm not...
Yeah.
It's not as concerning as people kind of make it out to be, People are going to buy, Fallout 4, and, I mean, if a Sony released really any of their games that weren't Uncharted, Uncharted 4, they're probably not going to do that well up against something like that, or, against Call of Duty,
Well, I think Uncharted 4 would be fine no matter what they went up against.
Well, that's what I'm saying is, outside of that...
Yeah.
If you come up with something that's especially something that's a new IP, I mean, it probably wouldn't do very well. And you need a new IP to launch well.
Yeah, I agree, but I think the good thing is there is a lot of really great indie games that almost don't even look like indies. They kind of look like AA or AAA games that are still on the horizon and possibly could be coming out this fall to make up for all the there not being any AAA first party stuff. So I think between that and then
Everyone's Gone to the Rapture is launching in August, which surprised me. I thought they would save that.
Yeah,
'cause that's something that definitely separates itself from the pack, but it's also something people have been kind of high on for a while, and people are excited about.
Yeah, and volume, and I mean, hopefully also Rhyme finally comes to fruition. I mean, who knows? The weird thing is there's no Gamescom conference, but they are doing something at Paris or something, I guess.
It's Paris, the Games Week.
Yeah, it's weird, but I mean, who knows? Maybe we'll get some game announcements there because there's just a ton of indies that are way overdue, like The Witness.
Someone said they're gonna have something to announce there.
I know. I forget.
Was it No Man's Sky? Was it Hello Games said they'd be there and they were gonna maybe have the release date then?
Yeah, I mean I know there was a couple of different games that are developers that were saying stuff like that about Paris Games Week. So I don't know. I think maybe they'll announce some stuff there, but I'm not sure how much. But hopefully, some of these long overdue indie games finally get some release dates because it is kind of crazy that we didn't have release dates at E3. Rhyme wasn't there at all. The Witness wasn't there. It's just crazy to me that those games, especially The Witness, but also, I mean, there's some other games.
It's
the weird thing is
one thing that's really, yeah. Go ahead.
The weird thing is that game Ark, Survival, whatever, the with the dinosaurs.
Yeah.
That game was only just announced for PS4 a month or two ago, and it's at E3. But The Witness and Rhyme aren't.
Yeah.
That's so weird. Same thing with Killing Floor.
Right.
Killing Floor 2 was at E3 for PS4, and that game only just came out on early access a couple months ago on PC, and it only got announced at PSX.
Announced that for
yeah.
Yeah, right.
So it's weird that those games are already kind of jumping ahead. Also, The Forest. I did see The Forest in in the E3 trailer for Sony. So that's another game that is kind of jumping ahead of these games that were announced in 2013 at E3 or Gamescom. Although the good thing is Abzu. I don't know if you know what that is. That actually is at E3, and they did a pretty cool game demo with the PlayStation Livecast thing. And
yeah, I was disappointed I didn't get to see any of that in the presentation, really.
Well, what do you mean the game in the E3 conference or
the E3 conference?
Yeah,
just because
yeah, it is.
I
weird.
knew ahead of time that it would be there,
Mm-hmm.
and people had been talking about their like pre E3 previews.
Yeah.
Getting hands-on time with the game, and I was really excited to see it. But they didn't really release a whole lot of footage or anything.
Yeah, like they only did that one like montage trailer, like we were saying earlier. I think it's kind of crazy that they relegated all those games to that, like instead of actually talk. But then they could spend 15 minutes talking about fucking Destiny and Assassin's Creed, which is just ridiculous to me. Like I don't know.
You know what kind of makes
they
me a
give
little
those
bit
games
sad?
Time at their E3 conference.
One thing that makes me kind of sad is that I've always kind of disliked Xbox because of the way they were with the American market.
Mm-hmm.
They just kind of dominated it, and that's just the way it was.
Mm-hmm.
Now that Sony's doing so well, and they have like the Call of Duty, they have Assassin's Creed, and all this stuff in all their presentations, I don't like that.
I don't either. Yeah. I mean, I can understand.
I miss
Call
having
of Duty.
like the big indie section and like always being the underdog. I kind of like that, and always being the guys that are having to support people that no one is supporting.
Yeah. No, I mean,
I understand from a business standpoint.
They're still supporting him, but I just find it weird that they took him out of the conference. Because I mean, I guess it is because the past couple of years they kind of got hammered for showing too much indies and everyone calling it Indie Station. But I like that. Like, I'd rather listen to fanboys call it Indie Station than not see those games at the conference. It's like, although it is at E3, like all those indies are at E3 being supported, but it's just kind of weird that they almost ignored them. But then they'll talk about Destiny and Assassin's Creed for 15 minutes, which a lot of people have moved away from Destiny, and same thing with Assassin's Creed. Like, so it's kind of weird that they show those. I mean, I do understand the Call of Duty thing though, because the DLC switched over, and that is kind of a big deal. Especially because Call of Duty has always been shown at Xbox conference. This is the first time ever it's been at PS4s. I mean, Sony's,
right.
And also Batman Arkham Knight, which I mean, you saw that Scarecrow Nightmare thing. That's what that was, right? That exclusive DLC we're getting for
right,
PS4.
Yeah.
That looked awesome.
I actually had I looked away, and my girlfriend was watching with me, and I'm like, "What is this?" She's like, "Yeah, this is still Batman." And I was like, "What?"
Yeah, that looked awesome. I can't wait.
It did look really sweet.
Cannot wait. I'm so glad I finished Arkham City last night because I already pre-ordered Arkham Knight, and I cannot wait to play it. Like,
it looks very, very good.
I can't believe they're making that an exclusive to PS4 though, because that looks like one of the coolest things in the entire game that I've seen.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, I thought so too.
Because
what I kind of had to explain to her that like the Scarecrow poisons people, and this is what gives them these hallucinations, and that's why you can have something like this in a Batman game. Because obviously there would never be really like bloody zombies in a Batman game unless it was in a context like this.
Yeah.
So it's really cool because it's going to be like, it's like extra missions, but they're going to be like completely different than what you play in the rest of the game.
Yeah,
which is cool.
And I mean, just that what they showed itself is just fantastic, absolutely amazing. Like I thought that was so cool what they did with that. I mean,
I thought so too.
It is kind of crazy. Like E3 almost like made us forget about the fact that game's coming out this Tuesday. So it's only 4 days away. That's awesome. I cannot wait to play that. Yeah, for sure. And then after that, I mean, we only got 2 weeks to Rocket League, which hopefully everyone will be getting, because it's really an incredible game, and I hope it does really well. I mean, I know the people who played the beta are raving about it as much as I am, and same thing with Juan, but I'm not sure if, especially because they didn't market at the E3 conference, which they should have. They really should have showed that game, because, I mean, that game is, it's mind-boggling how fun it is, and I hope more people give it a chance. And I think it's coming out the 7th of July, so can't wait for that. And then the next month everybody's gone to the Rapture and Volume, and I think there's one other I'm forgetting. So, yeah, I mean, we definitely do have a lot of games to tie us over to, the fall with all the big releases, and Until Dawn as well. I think that's late August.
Yeah, I think it's the last weekend or the last Tuesday in August, and then I want to say that Everyone's Gone to the Rapture is like Tuesday the 11th in August or something like that.
I think it is. Yeah.
It's like the second Tuesday. But I mean, and then Tearaway is like in July. Like all three of those games are, Tearaway's $40.
Yeah.
Everyone's Gone to the Rapture, I think, is going to be 20. So I mean, right there, I'd be happy to pay that much for both of those games. I like Tearaway on the Vita, so I'll probably get it for 40.
Yeah, I'm thinking about it because I really did love Tearaway on the Vita. And it seems like the new one on PS4 is different. Like they added stuff, but also the God of War 3 remaster is coming out very soon, I think. And next month, I think F1 2015 is coming out too. So that's another game that I might get. I mean, I don't know, you're probably not interested in Formula One, but I'm a big fan, and I don't know, I'm definitely interested in trying it out. So it's like there's definitely no shortage of games whatsoever. I mean, it just only first party. Like I mean, we don't have a ton of first party in the fall, but leading up to the fall, we have plenty, and then tons of third party stuff and really good stuff. I think this is like a really good year of games. Like I think some people maybe were a little bit like not sure about this year, like saying, "Oh, there's not much to play. There's no because Sony doesn't have any exclusive." No, that's just not the case at all. As it turns out, I mean,
no, there's a lot.
There's tons of stuff in. So I think if Sony was going to pick any year to not have a ton of first party games in the fall, this is the year because it's just so much on third party, and I am kind of liking how the industry is kind of scattering games out a little more instead of focusing it just on the fall like it kind of used to. Because I mean, after the fall, we have more games coming out like Deus Ex and Mirror's Edge, and there's one other I'm forgetting, Hitman, I think. There's definitely some games, but yeah, we didn't even mention Deus Ex, which also I thought looked amazing. I definitely really liked Human Revolution, but yeah, I mean, yeah, E3, so a lot to talk about, but we did get it all done, I think, in one episode somehow.
Yeah.
And
I mean, we obviously didn't touch every game, but and that's kind of the crazy thing for me is like, yeah, we talked a lot about the games that were in the conferences, but once we started getting into the stuff on the floor, like there's no end to it because Sony had so much stuff that they didn't put in the conference.
Yeah.
And I keep seeing like previews and stuff like that on my Twitter feed about all these games that are there, but I didn't get to see in the conference, and I'm kind of like, man, there really is, like, people say there's not that much stuff coming out for Sony, but there really is a lot like in the pipeline.
Yeah, it is kind of weird that this is the year they decided to trim the fat from their conference and make it really fast and to the point. And also it was a half hour shorter than usual. Like usually they go 2 hours. It was only about an hour and a half, or maybe a little more. And also the pace of it was so fast, and they didn't mention a ton of games. So it does seem kind of weird that this is the year they decided to do that, considering all the other stuff they have lined up. But I think it's because they knew that with The Last Guardian, Horizon, Final Fantasy VII Remake, and Uncharted 4, they were going to win E3 just on those alone. So I think that's probably why they decided to make it a really short one. Yeah.
Yeah, I think you're definitely right on that.
Yeah.
Because I think they're gonna save a lot for PSX if they do it again, which I think they want to.
Yeah, I think they did. They are doing it. Yeah.
Paris Games Week, and then obviously Tokyo Game Show will have stuff too.
Oh yeah, that's
but
true.
Not that's not as relevant to us.
Yeah, sometimes they show some stuff there, like as far like the Japanese developers sometimes like to show stuff there. But yeah, who knows?
I'm sure Persona 5, like some people are disappointed that wasn't here. That will be there, I guarantee that much.
Yeah, who knows? Maybe even there'll be like a Morpheus demo for like Gran Turismo 7, but I doubt they would announce Gran Turismo 7 at Tokyo. But
right.
they might have some kind of presence with Morpheus. Who knows? But also, what came out? Last Guardian will probably be at Tokyo as well, I assume. But
I'd agree with that too. And Final Fantasy VII might be there too.
Yeah, I mean, if they have anything to show at this point, I think that game might be pretty far away, but hopefully it isn't. Who knows? But
I hope it doesn't take another like 6 years like their games have been recently.
I don't think it'll take that long because I know that it's not the actual main studio that's doing it, but
yeah,
I do still see it taking at least to 2017. So
yeah, I think you're right.
Which is kind of crazy. It's so far away, but yeah. Next week we got top 5 games of all time we want to talk about. So
right,
keep that in mind.
I'm excited.
Me too. I already got my list done, and yeah, but that's pretty much it. I think we.
Okay. Well, yeah. Let's wrap it up, and then see you next week.
Yep, our longest podcast to date for sure. But yeah.
Hey, there was a lot to talk about. It's the best E3 ever.
Yeah, it definitely is, as far as the ones I've seen. But yeah.
Yeah, me too.
Thanks for listening, and we will see you next week.